Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump administration.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. What a great trading day. Well, for the Legends Pro community, I hope it was a great trading day. I got into a couple of trades, currently still in this trade that we played together over here, right? It got nerve-wracking. We saw some berry CVD. Ooh, but it played out. It played out to perfection, right? Currently, I already took 20% profits in the zone over here. Okay, I will go through everything. I will explain how I got into the trade. Why did we get into the trade? What happened since this morning's update? Because the landscape has changed. Unfortunately, I cannot be live the entire day, right? And that is why you need to be inside of our Legends Pro community, because I gave them the update to say, well, based on new information that I'm seeing right now, I'm changing my analysis. Okay, and this is the video update that I provided for the Legends Pro community this morning. So for those of you that did see this morning's live stream, I just want to play you this update. It's a short little update that I provided for the Legends Pro community, just to show everyone how the landscape changes, and based on new information, new trading setups becomes available. So there was a couple of short, well, I can't remember, I think I took about 2 or 3 trades today, right? They're all playing out to perfection at the moment, but I just want to share this update with everyone so that you know, based on new information, my analysis changes, and I cannot just go live every single time, right? And this is why I educate everyone, so that when the landscape changes, when new data becomes available, you change your trading plan. You apply your trading strategy, you get in, you get out with good risk management. Remember, legends, to smash up that like button. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button there at the bottom. Let's get right into it. Let me play you this little clip over here. Let me do that. This is the update. This is basically an update I did an hour or 2, or I can't remember, just after this morning's live stream. Because the data changed, I gave this update to the Legend Pro community. We have completed an A, B, C, right? And the reason why it's a confirmed ABC here to the upside is because we tapped the 0.618 to the downside. When you take a fib from this low to the high, we have invalidated a fourth wave. Okay, we've invalidated a fourth wave for a 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. Then, you know, that was the long that I was looking for the basically higher levels. Okay, so what is interesting, what is now forming here more locally, legends, is now the question. Okay, I can count. Where's my ABC? This could potentially be another. Okay, I know it gets confusing, but let's try and make sense of this. This could be another A, B, and this is a C wave to the downside, because inside of the C wave, I can count 5 waves to the downside. Okay, right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now the conundrum that I'm sitting with now, legends, is this could also be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can make another low. So if, okay, and this is the point that I'm trying to drive across over here, legends. If we take the low again, if we take this low again, and we now form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, it means it's not an ABC. It's a 5-wave impulsive structure, and the retracement could horribly reject, and then we can find more downwards momentum. So this becomes an impulse. This did not become an impulse. So far, this is also not an impulse. So remember what I'm saying over here, legends. If we take the low again, okay, in the fourth wave that is forming over here, it means that you have formed an impulsive structure to the downside. This could be corrective, and we're going to fall again and take the lows. Okay, now this is where it becomes a little bit more complex, legends. So basically, that did not happen, right, legends? We did not get the fifth wave, and this is now the next scenario that I'm discussing, which is now playing out at the moment. If this is an ABC, remember now the rule for the fourth wave again, you take your fib from the high of number 2 over here to the low that we've created, and as soon as we tap the 0.618, it will invalidate the fifth wave, which we did, which means that this is an ABC. Now, this is where it becomes interesting. Well, what do you get when you see an ABC and another ABC? If we tap the 0.618, form another ABC back to the upside. And then you get a beautiful WXY. Okay. Right, legends. So I just quickly wanted to update you guys on this scenario, is to say that if we do tap the 0.618 and we do not create a fifth wave here to the downside, because I see there is some local, there's some insane bullish CVD against these pivots, but there's also local bearish CVD, and then it builds up bullish CVD again. So it's just the markets are so indecisive, and it is so crazy at the moment, legends. So basically, if we tap the 0.618, right, legends, I think you get the point. So, you know, there was a couple of scenarios that we spoke about this morning, okay? And those scenarios got invalidated because of what I've just said there on the update. So based on new information, I have to change my analysis. And now we are currently in this long trade over here. So what I discussed, okay, basically what I discussed, I know it looks a little bit messy up here, but I don't want to delete it just as yet, because I want to take you through what happened and why we entered a long trade. Okay, so I was basically waiting for that. Where can we like to be? A, B, C. Okay, that's what I said. If you tap the 0.618, you invalidate a 4 and a 5 to the downside. This does not become impulsive, because if we did this, right, I would have looked for the short over here to go down. It didn't happen. And then what happened is we built a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. A, B, C. And this is why I said, legends, now this becomes interesting. This looks like a W. This looks like a X. And we are now potentially building a Y wave to the upside. Okay? Where you now have a 3-wave structure to the upside. And this is now what's playing out. So based on the information that transpired, you know, keeping an eye on the structures that's forming to the downside and structures that's forming to the upside, you develop a new trading plan. Okay, so there was a couple of ways, right, legends? I think I got into this short. I got into this short. Okay, I took profits over here, realizing, because remember what I said this morning, I love to play the 1, 2. I like to get into 2. A, B. I like to get into B. And whether this is a 3 or a C to the downside, I like to take profits here, because you never know if you're going to get this leg. You just never know. So this is where I closed my position. Now I'm back in a long. Okay. Luckily, I was able to highlight this long to the upside, because the short just played out too quickly for the Legends Pro community. Okay, just to show everyone, if I close this video over here, Right, let's do that. So that was basically
Before we claim
the WXY. I then basically said, Legends, ooh, it looks like we're breaking out. Looks like we're breaking out. Okay. But I did not play the breakout. But if you did play the breakout, your stop loss is supposed to go below the low, right? And you would still now be in a profitable trade, even if you played the breakout. Okay. And what happened then, I said, okay, well, it looks like this scenario is now playing out where we're forming the WXY back to the upside. It can go as high as $79,891. But the first target is $79,100, right? But I'm not going to speculate on high levels like that. I'm paying myself on the way up because that's what I do from a day trading perspective. And then, okay, magic. The magic happened. Okay, this is now what I want to go through. Is we tapped the 1.618, and this is where I told everyone, attempting a long year, and yes, my 1.618 got hit this time because this morning my 1.618 to the upside got front run. So I missed the short there to the downside. Okay. Then I told them, just to show everyone that's not inside of our pro community, you know, typically what we go through a day, I did a couple of updates today and I said, I don't like the berry CVD, so I took 20% profits just in case. Okay, and I protected my position. It's not what you like to see, is weakness when you are playing a breakout. But I did not close the trade. I said, still in the trade, almost stopped out, looks like berry CVD got invalidated, right? And then I highlighted the trade and I said, this is my, this is where I plan to take more profits at the 1-to-1, and I'm going to take more profits when we claim the high, because that's what and then I will leave a moon bag open for higher levels. Okay, and now I'm here inside of the live stream. Now I want to explain. This is exactly what happened. Okay, so you actually broke out from this trend where you could have played the breakout. You did a beautiful retest, but this was the one that was interesting to me because of the local structure to the downside. Okay, just to show everyone what I was looking at. Okay, so basically what gave me the confidence to enter this long is you have an ABC, you have an ABC, beautiful ABC structures. This is W, this is X, right? And now what you want to see is another A, B, C to the upside to complete your Y wave. Okay. Knowing that, I knew that we are after an impulse, now that we've created the A wave here to the upside. Okay. I was waiting for a 3-wave B wave, a 3-wave structure B wave. Okay. And guess what? I was looking for 4 and 5. If I saw this, I would not attempt the long if I saw another leg to the downside. But because it was a 3-wave structure and we tapped the 0.618 when you take a fib from 2 to 3, okay? So I'm just taking you guys through my thinking process when I'm entering trades. Like, you know, there's so much happening and it happens so quickly. 1, 2, 3, okay? So you take a fib from 2 to 3, okay, we tapped the 0.618. Right, so it invalidates another low to the downside. That gave me higher confidence to enter, okay, or to play this breakout. I did not enter over here. I entered at the 1.618. Then we broke out. Okay, let me clean this. Let me take this fib out the way. Right, now, this is what happened next. I did not play the breakout, but I told the legends, pay attention. We are breaking out. We have tapped the 0.618. Okay, and then we started grinding here against the trend. And then I took, okay, because now I'm looking at this mini structure. You guys can see how technical I get, right? Then I looked at this little impulse, okay, and I knew that this impulse, if it falls, it has to correct itself. And it corrected itself in a 1, 2, 3-wave structure to the downside that tapped the 1.618 to perfection. And this is where I entered with my stop below the low. Some people did ask me, Dewald, why did you not put your stop here? Because I did not play the breakout strategy. If I played this breakout, my stop loss would have been below this low, because that's the rule for that strategy. But because I didn't play the breakout and I played the swing failure pattern, it gave me better risk management. Okay, and as soon as we moved up with bearish CVD over here, as soon as we moved up here and we started forming bearish CVD, I took 20% profits and I protected my position. And price fell down here, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get stopped out. I'm going to get stopped out. And this is when I posted the message to say, bearish CVD, legends, I'm going to get stopped out. It just looked like I was going to get stopped out. And then bam, right? We smacked here to the upside. I took profits here at the 1-to-1 extension. And right, we're now above the highs. Okay, my TP is most probably kicked in. I set my TPs. And now we're just moving higher. Okay, so based on new information, you have to change your trading strategy. Okay, I had a plan this morning, which I discussed in detail. The plan changed based on new information that came in. Okay, so for those Legends Pro members, well done, right? If you got into this trade and you didn't chicken out, you practice good risk management, okay, and hopefully you did take profits to the upside. If you did not, right, it's always a good profit-taking area when you start claiming the highs, always a good profit-taking area, but the structure has the potential to go and hit that 1-to-1 extension and the 1.236 here to the upside. Right, so now I can clean this up. Oh, and where I get this fib pool is basically just measuring this wave from the low to the high to the low. This is where I get this fib pool from, okay? Because this is now an impulsive structure back to the upside, right? So it's important. It can reject at the 1-to-1. It can reject at the 1.236. You can see the beautiful reaction at the 1.618. But this puppy just wants to rock and roll here to the upside. Okay, right. So legends, now the rest is history. Okay, this trade played out to perfection. Now it's for the next trading scenarios that we need to discuss. Okay, so I think my moon bag that I've got open, I've got a small little position open, most probably like 10% of the position open, so I've got 90% profits in the bag already, is the 1-to-1 extension. Okay, I'm just going to close my position here. I realize that price could go higher. I do realize that, but I will wait for the next trading setup. Okay, I'm very happy with the trade from here up until here, very happy with the profits that I've made here to the upside. I don't care if it goes higher. I really don't care if it goes higher. Okay, for me, it's about having a successful trade. Tick in the bag, move on. Let's look for the next trading opportunity. Okay, so legends, I know that I'm stuffing around here on the 1-minute time frame. Okay, but this is what the market gave us today. Right, it was just so easier for me to analyze the structure on the 1-minute, 3-minute time frame, speculating on that WXY here to the upside. Okay, so in this three-wave structure, remember what I always say, legends, any three-wave structure, A, B, C, W, X, Y, it doesn't matter what type of three-wave structure it is, the targets are exactly the same. Okay, the only difference, okay, there's a small difference. If this is an A, B, C, the C can even go to the 1.618. If this is a W, X, Y, the maximum target is the 1.236, sometimes the 1.382, sometimes, but I don't see it hit often. But this is your maximum target for a Y wave. This is your maximum target for a C wave, although I have seen the 2.618 get hit on the C wave, but it doesn't happen often. It very seldom happens. Right, so now, legends, you know, we're just waiting for this trade to play out. For those of you that did take profits, well done. Okay, it's now looking for the next tradable scenarios over here. So now I can take all of this out the way. And let me say hi to the community, and then we can continue the analysis here to the upside, right? So just want to track this trend. Okay, this is now your new momentum line here to the upside. Definitely it can continue higher, right? An A, can this be an A, B? I'm just trying to think that, well, you know, does it have the legs to get here? Does it have the legs? I mean, if it's going to form an ABC here to the upside, it can go to the 1.618. Okay, basically claim these highs over here, right? It has the legs to get there, but it does look more like a ABC in a W. This looks like an ABC in an X. And this looks like a ABC now here to the upside to complete your Y wave. So it really does look like a WXY structure. The confusing thing with WXY structures, you can have another ABC, 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 and you don't even have to take the low. And then you form another WXY. They can just go sideways and sideways and sideways. And what I'm basically trying to highlight over here is you can have a WX, a three-wave structure, a three-wave structure, a three-wave structure. You can still continue the range in WXY complex corrective structures, right? Triple zigzags, double zigzags, and the list just goes on. And it's about identifying the structure. Is it a three-wave structure? Is it a five-wave structure? Should I be looking for longs? Should I be looking for shorts? Okay. Okay, let me go through some comments. Let me say hi to the community. 68, are we even able to be back? 68? Right, no, we're not 68. Yes, there's a chance to go and hit 68. Mr. Mark Dutch, welcome to the live stream. Welcome, welcome. Always great to see you here chatting to the community. Our Legends community, yes, trading setups. The link is down in the description as well of this YouTube video. Yes, the link for our Legends community. If you'd like to join for more updates during the day from myself and Andy and the coaches, we've got Dylan that trades altcoins like a crazy person. We've got Aditya that are absolutely, or Aiden that is nailing the Bitcoin trades, right? And then you've got myself and Andy as well that provide analysis every day. Okay, cool. Trans answered, how high can it go? Right, I've answered that question. Are we taking this SFP? Which SFP? The one that just SFP'd from the 786. Well, with good risk management, any trade is a good trade. That's what I like to say. Okay. Ooh, very interesting level. I have seen the 786 get respected. I have seen it. Okay. And you also swing failured from this high. So there's a chance, okay, that you can get a successful SFP. Remember, you're playing, you are shorting resistance, and you need to take profits when you hit support, because it could come down, successful trade, bang, and then it shoots up. If you didn't pay yourself, unsuccessful trade. Okay, so it's a valid short, but it's don't ever think it's going to do that. Okay, it might continue. It hits support and it continues back to the upside. If you didn't take profits, well, then you out the trade with no profits in the bag. Okay, right. Dewald the legend, Ishan, welcome to the live stream. Possible short at 79,100. Yes, I mean that 1-to-1 extension looks better from a shorting perspective. I just want to see what CVD is doing. CVD has let us down a little bit today. It's showing constant bearish CVD. You can see that the market is longing. Bearish CVD means, okay, the market is longing. Retail is longing aggressively to the upside. So it got invalidated, but I played the price action. Okay, I did not chicken out of my trade. Right, but I mean the 1-to-1 extension and the 1.236, they look very juicy. So this now brings me to the next trading setups that I'm looking at. Okay, swing failure, shorting opportunity, shorting opportunity. Okay, you can see that this was the 0.618 got hit and it got respected. It fell down. Now the 786 is getting a reaction. Okay, whether it continues, I like that it's getting a reaction at each FIP level so far at these two, which tells me that this is a valid FIP pool, which means that you can get the short there, you can get the short there, and if it really gets aggressive here to the upside, well, we all know the magical number, right? Where you basically claim the liquidity above these highs, and then you fall back down. That could be an epic short here to the downside, right? We all know that we have massive resistance there by the $80,000 area. Okay, will the price find the strength to get there? Now that is the question. So if I go here onto the 15-minute time frame, Okay, this is basically the same area of resistance that we identified this morning, is to say that, well, we have massive resistance over here, which is in alignment with the 1.618. Okay, so I actually need to make this red. Okay, there's massive resistance there to the upside. Okay, it also is in alignment with the 1.618. Okay, will the structure get there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the structure will get there because we're still rolling down. Okay, it would make sense to make a lower high, continue the trend to the downside. Okay, so this could potentially be a fake out. For some traders, they will be watching this trend over here. Okay, and you can see where price is now getting the rejection at the trend. Price is getting the rejection at the trend, at the 786. Question is it going to successfully break out, or is it going to be a fake out? Okay, is it going to reject at the 1-to-1? Is it going to reject at the 1.236? Or is it going to give us a little bit more steam here to the upside to come and claim the 1.618? Okay, if it claims this area properly, okay, you're starting to change market structure. Now you have a higher high. So if you do reject, okay, if it punches through properly and it grabs all of the liquidity above, it hits here, the 2 extension, okay, maybe there's a chance that you are building that triangle or the diagonal that we've spoken about, okay, this morning. Because that is the only bullish structure that can take us away from the lows. If there's any chance of not claiming this lows, you have to build a contracting diagonal. There's just no other structure that makes sense at the moment, okay, based on the data that I have at the moment. If there's any chance for the bulls not to take this low, you have to build a 1, 2, 3, okay, but you want the third wave to go higher. You want it to smash this high, okay, 4, 5. ABC, and then you continue to the upside. This is the only bullish structure that I can identify at the moment. The fact that this low went so low does increase the probabilities of coming to take this low again. Okay, I remember a previous 5-wave structure that we built that got invalidated, because it's not to say that you build a successful 5-wave structure, it's guaranteed to form a higher low. Okay, I'm sure everyone remembers this little structure that we built over here. Beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It needed to find its feet over here and go, right? And it failed. It claimed the low. So it could still build again. It can build this structure again over here in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's all systems go, right? All systems go. It pumps and it falls down. Okay, so it's about just identifying the levels to short and the levels to long from. Right, very interesting zone. Legends, remember also, down in the description, I have cleaned up the description. Very easy, okay? There is literally 3 links in the description right now, okay? There's three links. It's Weeks, it's Bluffin, and it's our trading community. Weeks, you get the best deal, okay, that I've organized with the exchange. If you deposit $2,000 into your features account, okay, and all you need is an email and a password to sign up. You don't need to submit documentation. And you wait 48 to 72 hours, they will give you 50% back of the money that you deposited to trade with. Okay, so if you deposit $2,000, you get $1,000 back. You deposit $100, you get $50 back to trade with, right? And you get 25% discount on your trading fees. With Bluffin, also, you need an email and a password to sign up. And, right, I think they have increased, if I'm not mistaken, I think they have increased the cash back to 20%, from 10% to 20%. And also, every time you move $10,000 worth in volume, okay, let me just wait for this to load up. Right, it's struggling to, the wheel is struggling to load up at the moment, but you get a chance to spin the wheel every time you move $10,000 worth in volume. Right, but also an amazing deal, 25%, 20% cash back on the money that you deposit into your features account. These are the exchanges, and this is our Legends Pro community. Okay, where I basically did all of these updates today, right? I've got a section, Andy's got a section, we've got Matt, right? He's been shorting the altcoins like a crazy person, okay? And right, providing updates. We've got Dylan, all his altcoin updates that he provides over here, okay? We've got Bitcoin setups playing out to perfection, right? There's a short that played out to perfection today. Here's the long or the short that I also spoke about this morning that I got front run. My 1.618 did not get tapped. Well, the Legends 1.618 did get tapped, and they had a successful trade here to the downside, right? Some you win, some you lose, and so forth. Right, okay, cool. Legends. Now, got a super chat over here. What is the super chat? Nice TA education. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the super chat. Dewagi? Thank you so much. You know, you're not even asking a question. You're just saying thank you. I really appreciate that. That is so kind. Okay, Dewald. If we zoom out on the larger time frame and we assume the top is in, okay, where do we pull the fib, the time fib, to look for the post bottom? So you're talking about the entire structure, okay? Let me clean up this chart. Okay, now let's go to the daily time frame. Okay, so if you assuming the top is in, looking at the entire bull market, so you have to take your fib from this low. Okay, so if you're saying this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, so to make it easier to find the pivots a lot easier, go to the log scale. Click this little button over here and go to the log scale. Okay, double click on your price action. It will put it back into proportion for you, because what is beautiful about the log scale is you can see that pivot very clearly. Okay, now I know exactly where to pull my fib from. You take your time fib from the bottom, the lowest candle, which was that one, from the lowest candle, okay, that you can, it's in the zone, right? And you take it to the top, to that peak that we made over there. And you double click. Just want to make sure. Okay, more or less, right? So the 0.382 is at 17 November 2025. So it's November this year. So if you believe that we are in a bear market, you want the correction to find its feet after end of November. So this impulse needs to correct itself, okay? And ideally, you make the low after the 0.618, because after a big impulse like this, you want a proper corrective structure. And I have seen with Bitcoin, after each pump, the retracement, pump, retracement, pump, retracement. When you go and measure these ones out, exactly the same way like I've done now here on the daily time frame, okay, most of the retracements are in this zone over here, okay, and that brings us to May 2026. Obviously the 1-to-1 extension is a perfect correction. It's a beautiful balance. It's a 1-to-1, and then you find upwards momentum. But the market is not perfect, right? You just at least want the low to be made after the 0.382. Okay, and ideally at the 0.618, which is at May next year. So that is if the top is in. So Alex, I hope I have answered your question. Thank you. Yes. Right. Cool. So that is basically how you pull that fib. Regular. Let's go. Okay. What is interesting, using the exact same thing that I've done just now, okay, when I look at this structure, when I take a fib from the low to the high. Sorry, I need to do that again. I clicked at the wrong place. Okay. From the low to the high. Okay. Now you can see, well, this is actually becoming interesting. This impulse looks like it's coming to an end. Okay. Which means that the probabilities of creating a higher low increases because of time. Okay, you want price to fall aggressively here to the downside, because I can tell you guys now, right? This is usually how I look at a structure. If price aggressively fell here to the downside, almost, it's almost here by the lows, for example, and it's before the minimum target, then you start increasing the probabilities that you're going to take the low from a timing perspective, because you're most likely going to get a bounce, but you still need to claim that low because it was made before the minimum target. So if we fell more aggressively closer to the lows over here before we hit the minimum target, I would have said there's a high chance we're going to claim the low. The more price chops here sideways and the more time it takes, the higher the probability to take the high before you take the low. Okay, it's just another way to look at the market. Okay, time is a very important factor and not a lot of people speak about time. I know very few people that actually takes timing into consideration. Okay. So basically, legends, if we form that, there's that one scenario where we're forming that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a chance that the fifth wave is in, and this is A, B, C, done. And we start moving to higher levels. There's a chance, okay? The structure that is forming here more locally on the smaller time frame is not a sexy structure, okay? Which does open up the door to say that, well, perhaps we're going to claim this low one more time, which then opens up the door to say that, well, maybe this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at where it ends, okay? Also, it's a beautiful contracting structure, okay, which is a bullish structure. So from a pattern perspective, you all know that this is a bullish pattern. Something sloping to the downside and squeezing has a high chance of breaking up. Okay, A, B, C. So there's a chance that we still claim this low. Maybe we bounce there on $72,000 where we have that massive liquidity pool and we don't capitulate to the downside because how long from a timing perspective the structure has taken. Okay, if this is, and now this is now the conundrum, legends, if this is an A, B flat, which took the high as part of the corrective structure, now you have to adjust your time fib. Okay, now you have to take your time fib from here, which means we are after the 0.618 already, which even more increases the probabilities of taking the high before you take the low. Okay, another probability that's counting against the bears over here, and I know everyone is feeling bearish, okay? I'm usually the only bullish packet in I feel like the only bullish peanut in the packet, right? When we're getting this downwards momentum, is because the structure and the timing, I'm being biased based on technical analysis, not because I want the bull market to continue. The technicals are showing me that there's a high probability of at least claiming the high before we claim the low based on what is happening over here. I do not see an impulsive structure to the downside. Okay. This looks like, worst case scenario, this is a W, X, Y. That's the worst case scenario that I see. $59,000. Bring it on, but you're still going to form a higher low. This is going to scare the crap out of everyone. Bear market is confirmed. Okay, but look at that. It's still a zigzag. It's still a three-wave structure. Okay. I think what is interesting is that also if you look at this structure, let's just go to the 12 hours. I can see a little bit more price action. I think price is just pumping, right? Legends. We're milking that moon bag here to the upside. Okay. If you count the structure as a W, X, doesn't matter where the X ended. Let's just take it from that pivot. And we're now forming a Y here to the downside. Okay. Worst case scenario is, let's take a bars pattern. I need to remember where. I don't often use the bars pattern. I'm not a big bars pattern fan, but I just need to remember where on earth can that bars pattern like to be. Okay. They need to build a search feature. Oh, here we go. Sorry, legends. Okay, let's take a bars pattern for this structure. Okay, and we put it here. Right, because you need to form a three-wave structure. Remember, a W is an A, B, C. A X can be any corrective structure, right? A, B, C, W, X, Y, triangle, Okay, whatever I'm not worried about the X. The Y can be a replica of what happened over here. A, B, C, it can form another A, B, C. And then you're looking at $56,000. Okay, so if the momentum is going to continue to the downside in a W, X, Y, you are still going to form a higher low. And I'm telling you now, if this is going to be a WXY, there's a higher chance to go to much higher levels. Okay, the contracting idea, I don't like it too much because which is the scenario which I think is going to play out, because it opens up the door for confusion. Okay, I can tell you guys now from an Elliott wave perspective, if I see this, I'm going to be super bullish and I'm going to play a swing trade over here that's almost guaranteed to take the high. Okay, because it's so obvious. It is going to scare the crap out of retail, but I can tell you now from an Elliott wave perspective, and every single experienced Elliottician out there is going to scoop this up like a crazy person, because it's an obvious WXY structure. Okay. Now, it's the contracting diagonal that creates confusion, and which is why I think that is the highest probable scenario, perhaps that's going to play out from a market maker's perspective. Because what makes the triangle or the diagonal so damn confusing, okay, is the following. If we are forming, let's speculate. Let's say this was the top. It's not a corrective structure. This is the start of an impulse that's going to take us into the bear market. Okay? Because this triangle can be counted in two ways. It is either an A, B, C in a contracting diagonal where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go up. Or it's a 1, 2, 3. We're still going to make a 4. We're still building 4 and then we go 5. But you can see that the lows are not really impulsive to the downside. So inside of this structure, you're going to find the low and break out in an ABC, which is done. The confusing part is it an ABC or is it not an ABC? What if it's not an ABC? What if it's not that? What if this was the top of the bull market and this is a 1? Okay. That's your 2, right? What if this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where this entire structure becomes a 1, 2, maybe, massive resistance over here, and you go 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Okay, I need to zoom out for this scenario. Okay, so you're basically going to have a scenario as follow. Let me switch on the line so everyone can see. Let's just put it into proportions. Okay, this is the bear market scenario, because you have formed 5 waves in a contracting diagonal, which now creates the confusion. Is this a 1? And if we do break out, is this going to be a 2 or is it an ABC which is done? Which one is it? We don't know. No one knows. This is either going to be an ABC that makes a lower high and continue, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or this is going to be an ABC and it's done, and this is just going to create a higher low and continuation to the upside. So from a market maker's perspective, if I was a market maker, I would let this scenario play out because it creates the most confusion. If we're going to form a WXY here to the downside, it almost cements the possibility that the low is in and we're only going to higher levels. Okay, so, right, I always have a person that dislikes the video here. I'm not sure why they do that, but it is what it is, right? Maybe I have some haters, but mostly I have people that love the live stream over here. But there's a specific person that jumps into every single live stream and he dislikes the video, okay? Maybe he's just trying to prove a point. I'm not sure why. Okay. Right, now I'm seeing the pump, legends. I am seeing the pump, okay? Let's go back here onto the 5-minute time frame. Oh, wow. Look at this. Right. Look at this. 1.618 legends. Please pay attention. Okay. Pay attention. Right, that is now where we're currently getting the reaction. Wow, 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 wow. Sorry, I was so busy here on the larger time frame. I saw the pump, but I mean, it looks so teeny weeny on the smaller time frames, right? So what an epic breakout, right? And this now looks like it is a ABC. Okay, this now looks like it's an ABC because it's very uncommon for a Y wave to hit this target. Very uncommon. So this looks like a three-wave structure at the moment. Okay, right. Now this also opens up the door. Legends, if we do get the successful rejection over here, now this opens up the door because now we potentially have a third wave over here. Okay, this now opens up the door. 1, 2. Okay, for a don't like it. I don't like it. Expanding structure. I don't like an expanding structure. You want to see a contracting structure. Okay, but anyways, in an expanding structure, you're looking at the same. You're looking at the same thing. It's very rare to form an expanding structure. This is just pumping too hard at the moment. I would have liked to see a contracting move like that. Okay. Dare I say that this increases the probabilities for lower, for a corrective structure and not an impulsive structure. Right. Legends, I mean, we are at the zone for potential rejection, okay? Let's just not get overexcited. I know price is pumping, and then, you know, it makes people believe that price is only going up. We are hitting major resistance at the moment. Please do not FOMO into a trade and long into resistance. If you are opening up a long position right now, you are longing into resistance. Bad, very, very, very bad, right? We got in over here. Okay, we got in over here. Beautiful. Okay. This is not the play. Even if it continues, this is not, no. Unless you have a trading plan to successfully long here with good risk management. This is where I look for shorts. Okay, because if you did play this long, and now the moon bag is now, which reminds me, guys, I want to close my position. I'm actually going to close my position, right? Just give me, hang on. Okay, position closed. Okay, because, that's what I do from a day trading perspective, Legends, is that I take profits at resistance, okay? And I now look for shorting opportunities because this could reject horribly here to the downside. You can maybe pump a little bit more, maybe hit the 2 extension over here. But, from a technical perspective, you have to acknowledge that we are now hitting resistance. Okay, so please don't FOMO into a trade. Right, cool, Legends. What else? Short, yes, it's definitely a shorting opportunity, but I would like to see price close below the 1.618. Remember how I approach, this is how I approach my trading. You don't have, maybe you have a different plan, okay? As long as price is above my area of interest, I'm not interested. If price starts retracing, okay, and it starts trading below, then I become interested because now I know where to put my stop loss. And that is a sign of weakness. Okay. So for now, while price is trading above my area of interest, and because I'm looking for a short, no entry. If it falls back down, yes, now that looks great. Okay, and I mean, this could V-shape back to the downside. Just understand, this could V-shape here back to the downside. Heat support, TP1. Absolutely aggressive. What are the altcoins doing? ICP breaking out. Well, not really breaking out, but it's finding some momentum. ETH is on a roll over here. Litecoin on a roll over here. These are just some of the altcoins that I'm looking. Litecoin up to 10% today. Pepe up 14%, HBAR up 14%, XRP up 14%. Everything's pumping with this little pump here to the downside. Let's just see how short-lived this is going to be. Okay, I don't think, Legends, I know everyone gets excited and euphoric. Oh, there's a nice little candle here to the upside. Okay, nothing goes up in a straight line. Just remember that. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Can you still go a little bit higher? Of course. Okay, it's gonna retrace. Maybe it retraces, it makes a higher low and it continues. It's gonna retrace. Just, from a technical perspective, it has to. It has to. You can't just have this. It doesn't make any sense, right? Yes, you have aggressive moves, but it slows down. It slows down, okay, and starts retracing. And you have another aggressive move, but it's going to come to an end, right? If it doesn't come to an end, it's just not in a zone. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say over here, Legends. It's not in a zone where I long. You missed it. You missed the long. We longed over here. We took profits now. I'm out. My moon bag is now paid. The 10% that I left running is closed. I'm out. Okay. Right. What else? Moon baby. Yes. 90 days tariff pause. Ooh, is that the good news that's kicked in over here? 90 days tariff pause. Yeah, I mean, it was getting bad, this tariff thing that was going on, and then China increases it again, and, this W bottom is too perfect. Perfect trap. Yes, Mark, I agree with you, and also looking at the structure, and I think this is the thing, Mark, that I agree with you as well, and I'm sure, this is something that Koens will speak about as well, is that this structure, if I go onto the 5-minute time frame over here, okay, this is what concerns me. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Where's 4? Where's 5? If we did this and then we retraced and now we are pumping, I would have said there's a high chance to continue. But we didn't. It's a damn 3-wave structure. 3-wave structure. 3-wave structure. So for this momentum to continue, okay, if I'm just counting this absolutely wrong, but if I now consider this pivot over here, what you want to see for momentum to continue is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You want to see another, you want to see a retracement and you want to see another high. Then this increases the probabilities of making a higher low. You're still going to retrace, but it increases the probabilities of continuation back to the upside. Only if I see this. If we reject here and we just fall here to the downside until we hit support, we're most likely going to continue either ranging sideways or take the low. It is what it is, okay, from a technical perspective. So it would be interesting to see how the week unfolds and how this actually plays out. But from a probabilities perspective, because of what happened over here, there's a higher chance of continuing the range sideways or taking the low. Okay. Right, Legends. I mean, altcoins are absolutely pumping over here. Bitcoin is pumping. Absolute amazing. Why did you long there, Dewald? Why did I long? Peros, go watch the beginning of the live stream. I went into detail why I jumped into a long. Okay, this is the long that we jumped into from a Legends Pro community perspective. We jumped into, okay, was it this one? Was it this one? Was this one? Because we were stuffing around, well, I was stuffing around here on the 1-minute time frame. Okay, and I can tell you now, this is where we got into the long. Okay, this is the breakout that I highlighted. The breakout. I think it was this one. Let me go double check, right, Legends? Let me go double check. Here's my section under the pro community. This is where I highlighted the trade. Okay, busy breaking out. Pay attention. Okay, I entered at the 1.618. So it was this breakout. I entered at the retracement. Okay, so this is where I entered. 1.618, 3-wave structure. Okay, to the downside, 1.618. And yes, I took 20% profits over here. I took more profits over here and more profits at the highs and I left the moon bag open for higher levels, which I now closed. I'm out the trade. Okay, but managed to catch nice little momentum here to the upside. Okay, some people will then say, okay, and it really is inexperienced traders that make these comments. Some inexperienced traders will say, ha ha ha. Imagine how much money you would have made if you just left the position to run to the upside and you closed everything over here. I don't care, because price could have rejected here. It could have rejected here. I take profits when I hit resistance. Okay, and it has saved me and kept me profitable, because when things get really bad, you're going to wish you took profits at resistance, because you're going to just bleed out your account the whole time because you're waiting for moves like this and they don't happen often. Okay, this is showing a little bit of weakness here at the moment, legends. It is showing a little bit of weakness. You can see that we are inside of resistance, okay, struggling here by the 1.618. So I know that the good news has come out, but just remember, nothing moves up in a straight line, okay? This move needs to retrace itself. Remember to hit that like button, okay? Remember to smash up that like button. If you're here, not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Remember, legends, also the exchanges, okay, that I recommend that you need to use is the links are down in the description. I've cleaned up the description. 50% cash back on your money that you deposit in your futures account. You deposit $2,000, you get $1,000 free to trade with. You deposit $500, you get $250. 50% of whatever you deposit with a cap of $2,000, okay, gets airdropped into your futures account to trade with. Weeks, all you need is an email and a password. Bluffin, I think it's now 20% cash back on Bluffin. Right? All you need is an email and a password. You don't have to submit any documentation. But yo, legends, what an amazing pump here to the upside. But you know, I wish I could tell you to long. It just goes against every grain in my body to say you need to long over here. I can't. I just can't. Right? It's not at a longing level. The pump already happened. Can it continue a little bit higher? Of course, but it's just, there's no trading strategy to apply over here. The only trading strategy to apply over here is to look for shorts. Okay. Right, legends. I think Andy secretly disliked the stream. Are we on a short? Right. I'm not in the I'm not in any trade at the moment, but I will definitely be looking for weakness here to the upside and see if I can maybe play a short here to the downside. Okay. I mean, something goes up fast like this. Something goes up this fast, it's almost bound to go down just as fast. How often have you seen that? Okay. Will it happen? We will see. Tomorrow morning when I do another live stream, we will see how this actually played out. Can it still continue to the upside? Yes, it can still continue, because if this is an A, B, C, I have seen C waves tap the 2.618. It is very rare, but I have seen it. And I've even seen a C wave tap the 3.618. Do you guys remember the 3.618? I've never seen it before. It happened recently. I've never seen an ABC tap the 3.618. And it happened for the first time a couple of weeks ago, where maybe it happened before. I have just seen it for the first time. Okay. Do you guys remember this little structure? Where can it have liked to be? Here we go. It was this one. Look at this. A, B, C. Okay. Tapped the 3.618. A, B, C. If it retraced and it made one more high, it would have made sense, because third waves typically tap the 3.618. You can go even to the 4.618, the 5.6. Third waves can get really explosive to the upside. Really, really, really explosive to the upside. Okay. But I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of this structure. 5 wave structure, corrective structure, higher low, continuation, there was a high chance to form a 4 and a 5 over here. Okay, and then we got a C wave that tapped the damn 3.618 and we rejected to the downside. Okay, now locally, what I don't like about the price action, is this, what we formed here. This. That is a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Where's 4? Where's 5? If we did this, we retraced and now we are here, I would have said, damn, son, we should be looking for longs aggressively. Okay, but because we formed a 3-wave structure over here, and I mean, is there a chance for a bullish structure? Yes, but it's not looking sexy, okay, because you're now looking at an expanding structure. Don't like it. Right? You're now looking at an expanding structure. They are very rare. They do happen. They are very rare, never preferred unless all other scenarios fail, where you're basically forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have a bullish corrective structure, okay, that finds support and it continues back to the upside and the low is in. You can officially say the low is in if this had to happen. But they are very rare. Okay, I would be very surprised if the structure has to play out. No worries, guys. He really is human, not AI generated. We are shorting now off the moon. Right, legends, thank you so much for joining the live stream. I just wanted to do a quick little short update here with everyone. Okay, got to experience the pump here together to the upside. I just want to see what is CVD doing. Let's refresh it. Ooh, it's actually, I think it's still going to chop here to the upside because there is some local, dare I say local, yes, there's some local bullish CVD to at least claim the high once more. But I mean, CVD has disappointed us today. It had mass, when we played this breakout over here, okay, I can tell you guys now, when we played this breakout, there was bearish CVD. And look at where we are now. And now there is bullish CVD. So you do with that information what you want. Legends, have yourselves an amazing day. I will see you in the next one. Cheers for now.